Our gospel from Luke chapter 9 reminds us that God has to be number one, first in our life. The greatest of the commandments is love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your soul, with all your strength. God has to come first. And that's not because God is an egotist. It's because God created us and knows how we function best when we put first things first. It's difficult in the trials and the difficulties that we all face in life, that somehow those trials and those difficulties stare us in the face and they seem insurmountable. They seem like mountains. And it's only when we reflect back on our day that we can see those mountains as molehills. So many problems rising up, not just in our own personal lives, but we're going through a particularly difficult time in our culture, are we not? As virtually every one of the institutions that bring order and stability in our life are under attack right now, or are shown to be not ultimately the guides to our happiness. The news that dominates the airwaves and the newspapers, as we look at the Kavanaugh hearings and the judicial system, and wherever you stand on that question, it certainly shows us the fragility of life and the brokenness of our lives. In the entertainment industry, America's dad, Bill Cosby, going to jail for being convicted of sexual abuse. Here in Chicago, with the Laquan McDonald, with the officer who shot him, the trial continuing, with the police situation being under attack, the situations that have come against the church and the fragility of our clergy and our bishops being exposed. Whether it's the judicial system, the police, the entertainment, the church, we're living in times right now that have shown us quite dramatically that God alone is God, and that we human beings, we struggle and we try to do the best we can, but ultimately there's no human being and no human institution that can substitute for putting God at the center of our lives. A Lutheran pastor wrote some profound words that a friend of mine sent me recently, and I want to conclude with these words that I think place it in such good perspective. I was dreading yesterday with fear and anxiety, especially two tasks that were facing me. In real time, they came and went painlessly, even successfully. And then came another unexpected reason to be fearful, rising up suddenly right in front of me. But with the Lord's help, and only with God's help, I took it in stride and made my way through it. Why do I make mountains of molehills? Why do I worry as if I faced life all alone? Why do I forget over and over that the Lord alone is my help and my strength? And with the Lord, all things are possible. I began yesterday in a quiet panic. I ended the day with this prayer. Why, Lord, why? Why over and over, time and time again, do I forget? For one reason or another or both, I dread the day ahead and I forget. For one reason or another or both, I focus on the problems, the challenges, the trials, the tribulations I'm sure will come my way, that I'm sure will bring me down, and I forget. I forget, Lord, that you are always with me, behind me, beside me, above me, below me. You're there with me and for me always. I forget, Lord, that when I ignore you, you've got my back. I forget, Lord, that there's nothing in my life that you and I cannot face, cannot handle. I forget, Lord, all the troubled times you've seen me through, and how even when things didn't work out just the way I wanted, just the way I'd hoped, just the way I'd prayed, you saw me through my losses and all my disappointments. I forget, Lord, that today's mountains will tomorrow show themselves to be a molehill. I forget, Lord, how life looks smaller, easier, and more manageable when seen through a rear-view mirror. I forget your presence, Lord. I forget you're there for me even when I cannot see or find or hear you. I forget your strength to rescue me, especially when I'm feeling alone and weak and powerless. I forget the times, Lord, the too many times to count, when you have helped me, rescued me, delivered me, and carried me through straits that I thought I would never survive. I forget, Lord, and over and over and over again. And so I pray you'll remind me that all shall be well, that all shall be well, that all manner of things shall be well, if I but place my trust in you. Amen. Amen. Heart